The following program contains naughty bits.
Buddy, I want to help you. Do you think you can beat the champ?
I can take him blindfolded.
What if he's not blindfolded?
I can still beat him.
I believe you, kid.
You don't believe him at all.
Now you might be wondering, why are you humming the theme tune to the Deer Hunter by Michael Cimino? Well, last night I decided to watch that film starring Meryl Streep, Christopher Walken, and of course Robert De Niro. It was one of those movies where I kept looking at my watch thinking, when is this fucking movie going to end? Apart from that Russian roulette sequence, everything else just bored or depressed me. And do you know what else has bored and depressed me, and continues to do so even to this very hour of this very day, which is Sunday? Pro-feminists. I'm talking about Collective Shout, who originated in 2009. I don't know why I've never heard of these mad Australian chicks, headlined by a woman called Melinda Tankard Rice. And yes, her body does indeed resemble that drinking vessel. But on today's video, folks, you know the story. I kind of know the story, and I'm going to bring you my thoughts and opinions about this particular feminist group, because they've managed to strong-arm Steam, headlined by Gabe Newell, into removing 400 very naughty video games off the Steam platform. Now, these feminists are saying it's a celebration, but really, when you think about it, it's taking control, censoring as much things, even if they're not problematic, and it could spell not just doom and gloom for Steam, but for customers' ways of thinking in the future. But without further ado, if you ended up enjoying this video today, folks, make sure you give it a like, smash that subscribe button, because after all, I'm not a full-time YouTuber, I'm just a hobbyist who looks after his dear old full-time mum.
Harmful, especially to women and girls, and also to men and boys.
Folks, here on this channel, I celebrate beautiful, buxom, very leggy blondes, brunettes, and redheads. That's right, going back to the days of Playboy magazine. I remember them so well. In fact, too well if you ask me, because if I were to feature my thoughts on this video right here, I would get removed from YouTube straight away. But honestly, this news story is kinda wild. I haven't seen the BBC or anybody else talking about this, because when it comes to censorship, folks, there is a thing called free will. An example, when I used to work at Planet Hollywood, I used to work with a very good-looking American bald black motherfucker who would have loads of white women just lining up around the block to have a date with him, and in one instance or two, taking him back to their mansion. Now, why do I mention that story? What's it got to do with this particular story? It's because he had the free will to do what he wanted, as well as the women who wanted to be in his company. It's all free will, folks. If you rent a particular film from your favorite online platform, if it's Netflix or if it's Amazon Prime, of course your bank details are stored. Maybe that platform can use your data against you if you like to watch things like Cuties on Netflix, because again, that's one of the particular shows that's mentioned in this brigade called Collective Shout. Shout because, like Tears for Fears, they like to let it all out, but unlike that fantastic pop group, these girls don't know when to shut up. If you check out their YouTube channel, which has been around for 9 years, and wait for it, has a Collective Shout number of people, totaling, wait for it, 845. Whereas Anita Sarkeesian and her Feminist Infrequency channel has 209,000 subscribers. What a difference. You can clearly see who was the grifter and who the protesters are, who aren't getting very far. Even YouTube thinks their channel sucks, because if you look at the intro, and I'm gonna play you my reaction in a minute, they just have some poor gormless girl in front of the camera. You can imagine there's a sniper somewhere in her vicinity, and she looks terrified as she's doing an auto cue reading. It is so terrible. I just don't know why they subjected that poor lass into reading a dog shit statement. And let me just show you the B-roll, folks, because yeah, I've got lots to say. I mean, I truly do. You gotta brace yourself for the introduction of this video. It's 40 seconds long from the Collective Shout YouTube channel itself. Don't go and harass these ladies, they won't appreciate it. And besides, this video I'm reacting to doesn't even have the comments section turned on. But my oh my, have a look at the likes to dislikes. It's absolutely hysterical. Join Collective Shout for a world free of sexploitation. That's a word, folks, because blaxploitation back in the 1970s, where you had Blackula instead of Dracula, isn't a play on a word, right? But here we go.
Collective Shout is a grassroots campaigns movement mobilising and equipping individuals and groups to target corporations, advertisers.
Listen, love, you need a bit of media training. Stop looking at the auto cue in front of you. At least memorize the speech or make an effort and then fill in the gaps. Oh, this is so awful, isn't it?
Marketers and media, which objectify women and sexualise girls to sell products and services. Collective Shout names, shames and exposes corporations, advertisers, marketers and media engaging in practices which are offensive and harmful, especially to women and girls, and also to men and boys.
Now, what stands out to me in that 40-second video, which was absolute cringe, 95% of it is centered around women, and the last 5% is, oh, and it also affects men and boys. Nick Kamen, when he became famous in around 1985-86, when he pulled down his Levi jeans at a laundrette, launched him to a pop star career that lasted 5 minutes. Did he care about being objectified? Of course not. Many male models have come and gone before him doing exactly the same thing, which also brings me to that phrase, male model. Women are models if they choose that course, but you don't call them female models, right? So why are men referred to as male models? Because you're almost stigmatizing them there if they go for an acting job in Hollywood. It's like, oh, you're a male model. Are you also a carrier of pronouns? Do you see what I mean? It's so ridiculous. But Melinda Tankard Reist, a very dodgy surname, a very conservative Christian woman with so-called Christian values, born in Australia, is a pro-feminist, anti-whatever campaigner against the sexploitation of women, as that intro pointed out before, that 40-second glorious cringe fest. And what's very interesting about her, she nitpicks every single thing that is problematic. So far, she's not talked about one of my favorite TV shows ever, which is Banshee. The running joke of this TV series for me back in the day was, which beautiful actress is going to get her kicks off and rub her boobies in Sheriff Lucas Hood's face? And speaking of which, folks, after watching the Deer Hunter last night, I had to go on my PC, put on some virtual boobies and give them a good motorboating as well. And I tell you what, that's why I've got a huge big grin in front of my face today.
69 dudes!
GTA 5, oh yeah, just in the crosshairs of Gamergate 1. Who else was going after that game besides Anita Sarkeesian? That's right, your best buddies of mine, the Collective Shout people. And they were trying to cancel the game because, again, women get deleted as they have done in previous GTA titles, but for some very bizarre reason, GTA 5 really stuck out like a sore thumb up somebody's sore bum. And what happened? Nothing. They moved on. In 2020, there was an Australian KFC commercial that was deemed to be inappropriate because it encouraged grooming. And I'm going to show you the ad because it's absolutely hilarious. And honestly, it makes me want to take somebody's car, go up to a driveway where they're serving KFC to be greeted by a lovely buxom lass who says, "Mr. Kung Fu, would you like fries with that order?" "Yes, please, miss." Ooh.
Did someone say KFC? I don't care. I love it.
Steam introduces vague new rules banning certain kinds of adult content to appease female hyenas and also credit card companies, because Visa and MasterCard are the absolute moral arbiters of what we are allowed to spend our money on. Because God forbid if I wanted to go to an adult movie site or something else and I wanted to use my Visa card and it gets declined, well, what happens then? Because again, sexy sells. Sex has always sold. It's a big money making business. So why on earth would you prohibit people who want to have a different kind of entertainment not to be allowed to pull out their credit card or their debit card and buy said purchase? And it's a very curious response from Steam here, because they've known all along that there are questionable titles out there from Japan, from Eastern Europe, that are on their website that you can buy legally. Well, supposedly you can, but now, as a result of this 400 games removed from Steam, they're now offering app credits to these game developers who've been affected by this decision. So it's kind of like making up for financial downfalls, if you like. The actual response from Steam is a little bit lukewarm, like on purpose. You can almost see Game Newell sitting there thinking, bloody hell, man, can we just remove women from the essence of video gaming, because they're ruining it for everybody. And again, folks, I've got to say this: whenever men are having a great time enjoying something, women have to come along and spoil it for everybody. Yeah, I'm talking about you, girl England football team. Don't give a shit about your exploits. Who cares? But it's always been like that, and oh my god, it's just never ever gonna stop. Guys can't have guy things, enjoy guy things. Do guys walk up to girls and say, actually, piss off, I want to do what you're doing, but do it better? No, you don't actually hear that. It's usually men that start off the whole trend, and then suddenly women have to come along later on because they feel left out. Men ignore us. I mean, honestly, if you're censoring video games, where is it going to stop? I mean, first of all, Konami have Silent Hill F, more like F you, coming out very, very soon. There's an absolute disclaimer of literal warnings for that game. It's scary images. There's actually child A themes. I can't say the next word, but you know what I mean, because it's 60s Japan. That sort of stuff was very prevalent in that era in Japan. Obviously it still continues, but the attitudes of what happened to girls and boys going to school, you know, it covers all that stuff. And apart from that, it's very gory apparently, and in fact I wonder if it's going to be very problematic if you stream the game. So while Konami have taken those responsible steps to make this disclaimer, will that stop somebody like Collective Shout from going after the game? Because again, Australia has some very strange censorship rules when it comes to video games. Manhunt 2 being a prime example. I doubt very much that these girls were involved with that, because again, I don't think you went around deleting women in that game. I've never played it. I do want to play it, but as far as I know, you just mainly went after dudes in that game. But I could be wrong, and if I am, please correct me in the comments below. Now, there's a hotel chain called Geraldine in Australia who ran an ad where they wanted to employ women to dress up as skimpy barmaids. who got their knickers, or should I say Bridget Jones' granny pants in a twist. That's right, collective shout, calling it demeaning, etc, etc, the usual bullshit. Oh yes, the 7 Network in Australia, they also felt the wrath of collective shout when they aired the lingerie women's football team in lingerie.
Coming up, the new ladies of WA football, bearing all.
Full contact, full tackling, nothing's there for show.
Perth's Lingerie League get ready to put the boys to shame.
And believe me when I say those beautiful scantily clad female football players can shame me whenever they want to. And apparently Collective Shout had something to say about that because it's exploiting women. Women who choose to wear undergarments while playing football. Where's the exploitation in that? They're probably being paid lots of money for that very reason. Which, by the way, does bring me to the page 3 girl in the UK, which used to be the bastion of my entertainment back in my youth. Now, several page 3 girls, and if you don't know who and what they are, then what the hell is wrong with you? It was a daily newspaper where you'd open up the first page and greeting you was a topless or sometimes bottomless woman. And when I say bottomless, just her behind, not the other part, shall we say. And you'd actually have several young people, young women, I should say, young, buxom, beautiful, gorgeous women who went on to bigger and better things. Sam Fox, she was just 16 when she decided to become a page 3 girl, and she went on to become a bit of a megastar in America with Touch Me, I Wanna Feel Your Body. What a saucy little madam she was. Linda Lusardi had a big time career. Then you had Kathy Lloyd, who did pretty well after that. Melinda Messenger, to name but a few. So again, these women chose to put themselves under the exposure of this spotlight. Pictures taken by Beverly Goodway, and he obviously had a bit of a good luck charm with them because he actually launched their careers to bigger and better things. Corrine Russell obviously is the other one I can think of, who but later went on to become a Benny Hill girl and so forth. But honestly, all this talk about, oh, we've got to stop the exploitation of women and girls and everything else. I mean, again, look, there's a bit of a fine line about all of this because, again, you know, young girls who go into acting or music, they obviously do face the exposure of being exploited in some manner or another. Drew Barrymore, I am pretty sure, and this is going to be a very crude way to phrase it, I am sure she was passed around a lot in Hollywood when she was a child and a teen actor. And I believe she's actually talked about that in not so many subtle ways. And now you had that as an example, but I'm sure there are many, many more. So when you have an advocate group like Collective Shout who actually want to go after video games because I guess it's an easy target, and Steam put out a strange statement regarding this, it doesn't make much sense in the grand scheme of things. Like, Steam, are you alright, bros? Because when I last checked your webpage today and looked up certain titles that have, shall we say, very adult content in them, those games are still there because they've gained a bit of a cult following. And that's the thing, right? If you've got AAA titles like, for example, Hideo Kojima likes to put attractive women in his video games, and some very questionable, shall we say, out there narrative. Do you think these girls are going to go after him and try to take him down? Well, they can try, but they're not going to win. Oh, good day, Mr. Kojima. Any chance you could make Death Stranding 3 with more ugly, grotesque women? Oh, thanks, mate. Good day. You can come around to my place for a shrimp and the Barbie. Do you think that's going to happen? Of course not, because when you got people like him, Capcom, whoever that make really based video games for the fans. Remember, Collective Shout don't play video games. They're a bunch of old granny spinsters, very much like Mary Whitehouse, who used to walk around like a cluck 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 chicken in the UK, censoring this, censoring that, or trying to at least. Even Kenny Everett, one of my comedy heroes, even has a photograph where it's all about, we must ban everything. No, we mustn't. You have that freedom of choice. Again, going back to this collective girl group here, who even tried to ban Tyler, the Creator, from touring around Australia. Now, Mr. Creator is somebody I'm not a big fan of. He's not made for me. I don't care. Snoop Dogg, Eminem, they will also face the wrath of this ridiculous bunch of female hyenas who wanted them not to perform. It's censorship. You cannot censor things. It's ridiculous. It is your choice as a human individual if you want to watch said things or not. I mean, I'm not going to go into HMV and go to the horror section and pick up Cannibal Apocalypse. Why? Because while I like horror films, I don't particularly like those kind of horror films. I like horror movies from the 80s that have a bit of tongue-in-cheek about them. And when you watch my Halloween specials this year, you know exactly what I've been watching right about now. My funk soul brothers and sisters. And on that note, folks, what have you got to say? How do you feel about this subject? Do you think this is the beginning of the decline of video games as we know them, Jim? Or could it be even worse? Will Hollywood get censored? Will TV get censored? Will magazines? I certainly think it's already happening undercover, but you just don't know about it. And on that one, folks, if I were you and if you were me, you should definitely return for the next video.
Yeah, this is saying that little boys understand about breasts and about the way that adult men may view breasts. I'm a tits man. Demeaning message to put on a toddler's jumpsuit. Shame on Cotton On. Anyone watching this show should be boycotting Cotton On.
You know something? You suck.
Tune in next time, Space Freaks, and hear your doobry go ping in the next gripping installment of
Kung Fu Hot Dog.